never had this kind of challenge before, so I apologize to anybody watching. So a couple things. So this is about just getting ready to sell. I have about, 40 minutes, so I'm going to go through it real quick. One of the major things you got to get over is the fear, right? We always have a fear of reaching out and talking to somebody maybe that we've never talked to before. And, you got to kind of realize, what's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst? The worst thing is they're going to say no, right? And the best thing is they might be interested. They might know somebody that's interested. They might be intrigued by what you're offering. They might not want it right away, but they might want it later on. And that's really what sales and being in business is all about. It's about sort of being there when the opportunity arises and you want to position yourself as the person to go to that cares, loves the client, has ideas, solutions. And so you got to manage the fear. You got to get over this notion of being afraid to reach out. So whenever I'm fearful of something, I always look at okay, what's the best thing that can happen and what's the worst thing that can happen? So the worst thing is they'll say no. They might swear at you. I've had that happen once, I think. They might hang up on you if you're doing a phone call. They might say, if you're at a networking event and you're kind of talking about your business, they might, excuse themselves to leave and go talk to somebody else. That's maybe the worst thing that you'll uncover. But the best is they might actually be interested, right? Or they might want to meet you, which is really what you want to be doing. When you're meeting people for the first time, you never want to sell to them. You just want to get their interest enough that they'd like to meet with you. And when you meet with them, that's where you're going to sort of, develop the relationship, build rapport, get to know people, get to know where they're at, get to know what they want, get to know what some of the problems and issues are and what their challenges are. So the best case is you'll get an appointment, you'll eventually get a sale, you might make a friend. Those are some really good things to happen, right? And usually when you're selling, the best borrow is the worst. And the worst, really, it's not that bad. Because, my view is if somebody's really rude to you, you don't want to do business with them anyway, really, do you? You want to do business with people that, you like and you love and they like what you got, right? So there's a win-win situation happening. And when you have love and you like the customer and they like you, you're going to work your butt off for them and do your very best. So that's really important. So in terms of this, mini session, you got to get prepared to sell. That's the number one thing. You got to get prepared. And so I've got a 6-step sales system I'm going to work with you on this afternoon. And I'm so glad Ryan invited me and the team at ACBN invited me. And the system is this. You want to research. You want to be in the research mode. So if you think, wow, research in sales? Oh, yeah. You want to know all about your industry. You want to know how your business has helped somebody out in the past. You want to know about other people in the industry and what they're doing and how they're succeeding. Then you really want to know facts and figures about your industry. Remember in the call we had in the interview just about 20 minutes ago, and I mentioned the home stager, and she found a study that said homes that were staged were selling faster. Well, you want to know about how your industry impacts your client in a positive way. And then what you also want to research is you want to understand your client going in ahead of time. What's going on in your client's life right now? What's keeping them up at night? What are they worried about? If they want to join this, networking and business development organization, what's going to make them want to join? What are they looking for? And then, Ryan, what do you have for them, right? And so you have sales conversations with potential, people who you'd like to join your group or the association, and you do the same thing on LinkedIn, right? So research is your first step. And then it's all about prospecting. And prospecting, it could be networking. It could be having conversations online. It could be you hosting podcasts. It could be you going and doing a Facebook Live. It could be you, having a webinar. So it could be you just getting on the phone and calling people and saying, "Hey, how are you? What's going on? How are you coping with what's happening right now? Are you okay? Is there anything that I could do to help you?" So that's prospecting, right? That's we call it the old dreaded cold call. But right now you got to kind of go back to that a little bit, right? Because you're not out networking and you can't really meet people just yet. So prospecting comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. Even you having a YouTube channel is also prospecting, right? And the goal for prospecting never sell. You just want to get the meeting and then that meeting to have a discussion with a client and do a needs analysis and just ask them good questions about their business, their concerns, their challenges, their budgets, what the challenges are costing them. If there's a cost to not doing something, like we got to laugh, if your dirty car is not getting you dates or women see your car and they run, you got a problem, right? So Ryan, Detailed Nights, he's got to fix that problem. So he's going to ask you, hey, what's that problem of having a dirty car costing you? When your nice first-time date gets in, does she feel comfortable? Does she feel like, oh, this is a man who cares about his stuff and his possessions? Or does she kind of run like the wind well away from you and your car? So that's what the meeting's about. It's about asking great questions, finding out about the customer a little bit, and finding out to see if there's a fit for what you do and what they need. And if there is, then you're going to go to step 4, which is you're going to work on your proposal at home or a quote, and then you're going to deliver it in person. Here's my proposal. Here's my quote. Here's what I recommend, right? And then you're going to also ask for the business if they're in agreement, if you're getting a good sign that they like what you're bringing to the table, and then you're going to ask for the business. And what might happen is they might object. They might say, I don't know, the price is a little high, right? The price may be a little high. So you're going to have to overcome that objection. I'll teach that in a few minutes. And then you might have to negotiate your way to a close, right, to getting the business. And then you want to do the work, stay in touch. How we doing, right? Just measure, are they happy? And then once you've done and completed the work, you want to nurture the relationship, because your best client moving forward is the client you have. And what happens is often we do business with somebody and it's see you later, right? It was nice knowing you. But that customer, if they're happy, they love you, they're going to come back to you. They're going to want to buy more if you have more to offer, right? The other thing, too, is a happy customer is your best source of referrals. And one way to really double your sales is by, asking for referrals. So if you had every customer that was happy gave you one referral, you just doubled your sales, right? So this is what I call the joy of 6, or the 6-step sales process. So you got to know yourself. You got to know what you do to help clients. If you've worked with somebody, what success stories do you have to share? How have you helped somebody improve their life and their business? What makes you different or unique? Maybe there's a process that you have that makes you really unique, right? Colonel Sanders had the 12 herbs and spices, right? And people went, gaga over that. It was amazing. It was like, I'm addicted to the batter, never mind the chicken. What are 5 reasons to buy your product or service? What success stories do you have? What's your value all about? What do you do for people? How do you help them with their life and their business? So really important to know yourself. So that's the research end of things. And be able to communicate that, communicate the benefits of what it is you do. So there's 4 key benefit areas that you have to be mindful of in your business. And one is your product benefit. If you've got a product, what's the benefit to your product? Does the hair tonic grow hair on my head? Does the pain balm cure my pain? Does it make my backache go away or my neck ache go away? If it does, I want to hear about that. Does the toothpaste make my teeth whiter so I can stand out when I go for an interview or I'm on at a singles bar? Or if there's a service that you've got, what's the benefit to your service, right? What does your service do for people? Does it grow sales? Does it make them happy and proud to own their car, right? Does it save them time so they don't have to wash their car? They can spend more time with their family, their kids, right? What's the benefit about the brand? Maybe you have a brand that people really trust. And what's the relationship benefit? Those are things you want to work on as you grow your business and move forward. It's not something you focus on right away. What you need to get clear on is what's the benefit of your product and service and or service. So here's a really good example of communicating benefits. It's these birds in a tree, and you've all heard of the expression, the early bird gets the worm, right? And here, this head bird says, hey, guys, I got a can of worms. I'm selling you a can of worms. It's got all the nutritional benefits of regular worms without the hassle of having to get up early. Cool, you can sleep in. Here's a can of worms, have all the worms you want. You know, you're going to be well fed, you can sleep in, you can relax. We got it solved, right? And that's really what you got to do with your business. Here's what we're going to do for you. Here's how we're going to make your life easy, and you can, just live easily and effortlessly. How are we doing? You okay, Ryan? Thumbs up? Yeah? Okay. Thanks, bud. Now, you really got to know your values. So really, load up on success stories, how you help a customer, how have you taken them from point A to point B. Really get to know those stories, and maybe Google studies and stats about your industry that you can utilize in your conversations. The next thing is you really got to know who your customer is. So who's your ideal customer? Who's that customer that you really love to serve? Is it busy housewives? Is it two-income families, like where Ryan's concerned with detailed nights? If the family's really busy and they've got kids and both of them work, the last thing they kind of also want to do on the weekend, besides cleaning laundry and cutting the lawn, is maybe washing the car, right? Or if it's the busy executive who's really, he's really busy, but he's got to have a nice-looking car because, his clients see him in it. Maybe he's too busy to wash the car, so that's, Ryan's going to go to his office, wash it, and the guy can then take clients out for lunch and feel comfortable about doing that. So really got to get clear as to who's your ideal client and what makes them ideal. I really love, is there a niche? Is there a certain segment of the population that you really like working with? And if so, focus on them. But really study them. Know what makes them tick. Know what motivates them. Know what their challenges are. And then speak to their challenges, okay? Really important. So you got to kind of do your market research in selling. So, get clear, what are 5 to 7 things I want to know about my customer? Well, I want to know, are they buying? I want to know a challenge that they have, and can I help them, and can I solve it? I want to know what their budget is. I want to know if they're open to maybe a new supplier. Maybe they do work with somebody, but maybe are they open? Because I want to be that supplier. You might not get all the business as you start, but you can grow in to it with that customer. As long as you can get a little bit of business, and then you grow it and you prove yourself, and all of a sudden you're getting more business. So, get clear as to what do you want to know, what do you want to ask your customers when you meet them. So how else can you reach your customers? Well, I said, ask for referrals. So if you got people that you know in your life, if you don't have any customers yet and you're just starting out, ask friends, family members, colleagues, who do you know that might make a really good customer or would benefit? Remember we said benefit from my service or product. And then you could also use traditional media if you can afford it. If you can't, it's a good time to get interviewed on other people's media. So a lot of people I'm noticing, Ryan, tell me if you're noticing it too. Seems like everybody's doing a podcast right now since COVID-19 happened. It's like,
Yes,
I'm in the house, Right? You notice that? Yeah? Yeah, it's like I'm in the house. I might as well start a podcast. I mean, yeah, duh. So, tap into those people because they're looking for people to interview, and that could be you. So that's a nice way for you to get exposure for your business. I still like direct mail even in this time. Send a neat direct mail piece out to somebody. It really cuts through the clutter. when we're back to sort of regular business patterns, you could attend a networking event. Actually, there's a networking event a colleague of mine is doing, Ryan, but he's doing it online with this software called Hopin, Hopin, and it allows you to network and have an event online. Like it's like a networking event, but you can hop in from table to table and mix and mingle with certain people. So you can have, let's say I could go and hang out at your table and say, hey, Ryan, what do you do? Yada, yada, yada. And then once you and I are done, then I can go to another table, and it allows for like a speaker and, so networking events. So people are doing online networking events. You can still network, just, not in person right now, right? Or what's that?
Buena from Canadian Businesswoman, she was doing her networking events online now.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Platform.
Yeah, the same thing. There's another software called Remo, R-E-M-O. But do you know Vito Marchese from from Networker, the Networker? So he's doing an event on June the 8th from 2 to 4 using Hopin. So it's kind of cool, right? Get your business cards out. You can drop them off at stores still. Some stores are opening. Joint ventures, really good way to build your business is, tap into somebody else's market, and they can tap you into theirs. You know what? Get on the phone. Use the phone a little bit more. Connect with people. Just ask, how you doing? Is there any way I can help you, right? Any resources that I have that might be able to help you, especially right now. People are a little hurting and a little wondering about what's, how this is all going to come together, and maybe just having nice conversations with people as opposed to doing a hard sell is a nice way to go, right? And then, let your family and your friends know that, hey, if you ever have a lead from me, I'd really appreciate it, right? So really important. So just think of like what marketing strategies are you going to use this year and into next, for the rest of maybe even the next 3 months. What are you going to use? Because it's going to change. Your marketing strategies are going to change as more things open up, and we can go hopefully back to traditional methods. But in the meantime, what I'm seeing is a lot more marketing is being done online, of course, with these Zoom calls and with Facebook Lives. Chat groups online, what else? Online networking events, webinar-based type training as well. So just, you got to sort of be open to altering your marketing mix right now. But you still got to reach your customers, right? You still have to give them ideas and solutions that they want at a budget they can afford. So if you use the phone to connect with people, it's not about just showing you the money. What a call is really about is it can be it's a good way to introduce yourself and your ideas and your solutions to a customer. But if your customer says, no, we're not really interested right now, what you do want to ask is permission to probe that no. So it's a really good opportunity for you to do a little bit of market research with your customer and, ask them permission to ask questions. And keep that relationship going somehow, right? Say, is it okay if I probe the no? Like you just said, no, you're not interested. Do you feel a need for this down the road? Yeah, they might say, yeah, maybe in about a year. Okay, that's cool. Is it okay if I stayed in touch? Yeah, it's okay. How would you like us to stay in touch? Would you mind a phone call every few months? Would you mind us, we put you on our newsletter list? Would you want us to invite you to maybe podcasts that we do, or, if we're having an online networking event, to invite you? How would you like us to stay in touch? And so if you stay in touch in a nice sort of professional way that's informative, upbeat, educational, really building on the relationship, when it comes time for your customers to buy, or the prospect to buy, they'll be more than likely to use you because you stayed in the game. Often we hide away because we got rejected, right? Oh, no, they hate me. I'm no good. I shouldn't have opened this business. And it's like, no, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Because studies show it takes 9 to 12 contacts just to get in the door, never mind get the sale. So just stay with it in a nice, professional, easygoing manner. Don't get too attached to the outcome, and you might be pleasantly surprised that when it comes time for the customer to buy, they're going to go to you, right? Because here's the deal. Studies actually show that 7 to 10% of people you talk to are actually interested or thinking about what you're doing, about buying what you're doing. That means 90% of those you talk to, you market to, you send an email to, you promote to on Facebook aren't even in the market for what it is you want. So when you get rejected, it's not personal. It's just they're not in the market. They're not even thinking about it. Only 3% of the population wants what you have at any given time, and 7% of the population are thinking about it. So that's really important to know, okay? So the goal of your call or a meeting, or let's say you stand up at a networking event, you introduce yourself, it's not to sell. It's just to build on the business relationship, to get to know the client further, so that when the time is right, they'll be ready to buy, and they'll buy from you, okay? And the other thing that's really important is don't press too hard and heavy. Warm up the call. Do your research. Do your homework. Understand, what you're bringing to the table. So this, and Ryan, you know what? I'm going to send you the PowerPoint so you can have it and you can distribute this to anybody. So this is what you would say on a prospecting call. You simply state who you are. Let's say you do use the phone. And let's say you do want to go after some business, right? So you just say, hey, it's Bob, right? I'm from, a life insurance company. And the benefit of life insurance is if anything's to happen, your family and your assets are protected for years to come, so that your family doesn't have anything more to worry about. So if that's an outcome that you'd like, I'd love to meet with you to discuss, buying life insurance. Okay, not the happiest topic, but you get the point. And that's all you need to say. And so the other person on the other end of the line is going to say, yeah, you know what, I am interested, or no, I'm okay. And then if they say I'm okay, then you're going to ask permission to ask a few questions, because maybe they have another insurance need that they didn't know they had, but you're going to ask them and probe to see if there's a need for anything else. Does that make sense? So it's really just state simply who you are. So I'm Ryan Knight from Detailed Nights, and what we do is we do spectacular work on cars, detailing them, cleaning them so they look as good as new. And some of the benefits is just you get pride of ownership. You feel comfortable and safer in your car. Studies show that people actually feel safer in their car. Their car actually runs better when it's clean. And so if that's kind of result you'd like, plus we help save you, time and money from doing it yourself, and you can have more time to spend on the things that really matter in your life. I'd love to meet with you and show you the work we do and get your car running like new. Okay, so that would be a sort of a script or opening statement for your business, Ryan. So what I would really encourage you to do is practice the scripting with somebody and see what they think and see if you can improve it. Some other things you can do to enhance it is lead with benefits. Hey, do you know, we get this kind of result for our clients? If that's a result you'd like, I'd love to see you, right? Or lead with how you solve a client's challenge. Hey, our clients come to us and they're so time crunched with homeschooling their kids and still working their business and running a home and cooking more, and the last thing they want to do is wash their car in the weekend, right? So we help save you time, and you can spend more time on the things that really matter right now. Or lead with a success story. We just had 3 new clients come to the Caribbean Business Association, and they loved it, and they started to grow their business, learn, get leads, and they feel like they're at home here, right? So if that's what you'd like for your business, I'd love for you to come out to our free event we're hosting online, right? Or lead with statistics. Studies show, remember the home stager, studies show that homes that are staged get 9% more, and they sell a lot faster. So those are ways that you can enhance what you're going to say. So the bottom line is you got to connect, right? You got to connect to what your clients want and need and what's going to drive them and motivate them to buy. So here's a little methodology I like, and this is for your elevator pitch. So if you are ever at a networking event and you don't want to go on and on about who you are, or people are starting to fall asleep at the networking event, you just state this: hey, do you know when you have this problem? What we do is, and then so you just state a problem and you find a solution. So do you know when you hate selling? What we do is we've developed a 6-step sales process that helps you, overcome your fear of selling, and we make it easy, lucrative, and fun. And that's all you say. So do you know when? You state a problem, and then what we do is. And then the right people who are interested are going to want to have a conversation with you. So always remember the fact, only 3% of the people you talk to want what you have, or they're interested. 7% are interested. 90% of who you talk to won't even care. They're not in the market. Okay, so don't get too bummed out about that. All right, and then persist politely. Right, just keep persisting with your customer. Ask them questions, probe, educate them, include them in your life, send them leads, educate them. Just keep building that relationship, right? And always ask for the business too. So once you've made a contact with the client, once maybe they become a client, one of the most important things is in sales is to maintain the relationship. Keep the relationship going after the sale, because your best customer is the one you have. So have a game plan to keep your customers and keep them coming back. It's really important. So, you want to think of 5 ways to stay in touch with your client. And I'll just share one quick story. We're almost done here, Ryan. I took my car in, not for detailing, don't worry. I took my car in to get new tires, right? And I was teaching at that time in Whitby all day. And so I went to this tire store in downtown Whitby, and I went in the morning and I said, I need new tires, and I picked out a set of tires that I wanted at the budget I wanted, and I said, I'll come back at the end of the day. Here's my number at where I work if you need me, and I'll pay for the car and the tires then. So I went back, and the car was all ready and in the parking lot. They gave me the key. I paid for the tires, and I went and started the car, and off I drove. But this tire place made a big mistake. They thought they were good enough that I would come back. And they weren't terrible, but they weren't like, oh my God, I got to go back to that place. They made the mistake of not asking me for my information. And they made a mistake of not asking me for my information so they could stay in touch with me. They could have said, we've never seen you in here before. Welcome to our tire store. Would you be okay if we took down your phone number or email, and we'll notify you when you got to come back and get a balancing, a rotation, and an alignment, because we want you to be safe in your car, and we want your business in 3 years' time when you need new tires. So a balancing, an alignment, a rotation, probably maybe at most $200, right? And you should do that at least once or twice a year. So $200, let's say once a year for 3 years, there's $600. Then a new set of tires at $400, $500. There's $1,100 they just let walk out the door, hoping that they were good enough, hoping I'd come back, but they just let $1,100 walk out the door because they're not staying in touch with me. So really important that after your clients buy, it shouldn't be bye-bye, okay? So that's a really important point. In sales, just stay in touch with your customer, and think of ways to do that. Maybe a newsletter, maybe a podcast. Yeah, go ahead.
Racking my brain around different ways to keep in touch. Would you be able to give a couple examples of good ways to keep in touch?
Yeah, a phone call. Hey, find out maybe there's common ground. Maybe the client likes golfing. Hey, you know what? We're having a golf tournament. Would you like to come out? Or maybe you find out the client really is involved with a charity, right? And they're having a charity event. Hey, is there any way I can help out? Maybe we can joint venture on the charity, right? Would you like our email newsletter? Would you like, we're doing a podcast. Would you like to be a guest, right? things like that. So sending cards, sending birthday cards, sending, holiday cards, or Valentine's Day. Hey, we really love our customers, and here's a special. We have a Valentine's Day